Hi, my name is Kishore and this is Moving Images. We all love cinema, don't we? We love it so much that we talk, dissect, discuss, and discuss even more about it. I mean, this channel wouldn't exist if film discussion wasn't a thing. One of the best things that came from film dissection is the reverse engineering of the stories that worked, leading to a structure. Following the discovery of this structure, every screenwriter has tried to follow or at least try to break this narrative structure. A story structure is often derided by some sects of film fans who claim it restricts the creativity of writers and results in cookie cutter scripts.
நான் தான் சார் இந்த படத்தோட ஹீரோ ஓப்பனிங் சீன் அதான் ஒரு சின்ன பில்ட் அப் ஓஹோ.
And while there's no doubt that adhering strictly to a set of rules from the first stage of screenwriting will probably restrict your ideas, there are many instances of how the guidelines of structural theories can enhance our experience of a unique character's journey. One such example is Maanaadu. Khalik, the protagonist in Venkat Prabhu's Maanaadu, is stuck in a time loop and his day keeps repeating. He has to figure out why he is stuck in that loop and how to break out of it before he runs out of options. His troubles are further complicated by the antagonist Dhanush Kodi, who is also stuck in the time loop with Khalik and is closing in on him. Time loop movies are an interesting genre in that there is a lot of repetition of scenes. This is to establish the nature of the situation the protagonist is caught in. The concept is cyclic in nature. So how will a linear story structure help tell a cyclic story that loops back to the starting point over and over again? Director Venkat Prabhu and editor Praveen KL have used a familiar backbone to show new ideas and in the process help us understand the complexities of the time loop while guiding us emotionally to the resolution of Khalik's journey. There are many very similar variations of film structure theories from different filmmakers and screenwriters. But for this video, we are going to focus on the 8-point story arc I discussed earlier in my video essay about Basha. We will see how this simple roadmap of plot points helped Venkat Prabhu tell a complex story about a man stuck in a time loop. Maanaadu opens with Khalik traveling to his friend's wedding. This is his stasis, where everything is peaceful, showing the status quo before the start of the main conflict. He helps his friends elope and accidentally comes across a man trying to escape from the police. One thing leads to another and Khalik is now caught in a plot to assassinate the chief minister. Now the moment Khalik accidentally hits the guy who was supposed to be framed for the CM's murder would be the inciting incident or trigger that changes Khalik's life, leading him on a quest to escape the corrupt police's plot. And this was the case initially when Venkat Prabhu conceived the story, but he later added the time loop aspect to the story, and so this becomes the trigger now. The moment Khalik wakes up after being shot. By changing a story element, the trigger is changed and opens up the door for a new want for the protagonist, a new quest. We get to see the whole day repeat for Khalik, and each time he tries to do something different from the first time, only to end up dead and start the loop again. So the story so far has been linear, and from the time it starts looping, we get to learn Khalik's quest. Instead of trying to save his life, Khalik has to die many times to figure out how to get out of the time loop. Venkat Prabhu is using the cyclical nature of the time loop, the reason for the protagonist to move forward. And all of this is embodied in the wonderfully choreographed and edited fight scene, where Khalik uses the knowledge from all the previous loops to get ahead in the fight to get more information about the assassin. We have also gotten to a point where we no longer need to see Khalik's day get rebooted to the beginning to understand that he is in a loop. The strong story structure and editing definitely helps the audience ease into the story, to see the quest evolve over time as Khalik's needs change, until he realizes what he must actually do to end the loop. And this is where we get the surprise. The surprise is something which solidifies the conflict and the character development. It can be used to make the protagonist commit to the conflict, or alternatively, can be used to question their role in the conflict. Maanaadu uses this template to its glorious advantage by giving us a true surprise in the form of the antagonist also being caught in the same time loop as Khalik. It is stupidly simple when you think about it. How do you make things harder for the hero? You take away his one advantage. his ability to remember previous loops. This comes brilliantly after we saw Kalik make full use of this advantage in the fight scene. Making the villain remember the time loops also does one more good thing for the story. The hero can only try an idea once, and so every loop now feels new. This ups the stakes by making all the previous information the hero gathered useless, and new obstacles thrown his way by the villain as he tries to save the day and break the loop. The critical choice is the part where the protagonist will be forced to make a choice as to where their path will proceed next. Kalik makes a serious choice about where he will proceed next now that Dhanushkodi is on his trial. This leads him to change his approach in every loop. The critical choice leads on from the surprise stage and directly into the climax stage. The stage where Kalik finally learns whom he has to save to stop the assassination. The climax usually brings the conflict to the forefront, escalating it to its highest point and puts the character's skill and emotional growth to the test. As Dhanushkodi zeroes in on Kalik's location at the start of his loop, Kalik finds creative solutions to reset the loop one last time to achieve his goal. This is also part of the story where everything ties back to where it all began, and all the information we, the audience, have been given so far also comes into play. The screenplay makes a nice little infinity loop. And once we go back again to the starting point one last time, we come to the reversal stage of the story. This is the part where things start working out in the hero's favor. Kalik saves the day, all is well, and we have come to the final point in the story arc. This stage is in return to an equilibrium after the climax, creating a new status quo for the story and ties up all loose ends. Now, does a template story structure actually make Maanaadu a boring experience? Not at all. The film uses the story structure as a foundation on which an intriguing story is built, with excellent pacing and retains the audience's interest. The structure also helps propel the story forward even while the scenes repeat. So if you're getting into screenwriting, I highly recommend studying Maanaadu's writing and editing to see how to disseminate information in an efficient way. Until next time, this is Kishore signing off saying,
Vanda sutta setta repeat. Vanda sutta setta repeat. Vanda sutta setta repeat. Vanda sutta setta repeat. இன்னைக்கு வருவான் சுடுவான் சாவா ரிப்பீட்
எவன்டா
அவ்வளவு ஓவர் ஆக்டிங் பண்ணாத அவன் உன்னை விட பயங்கரமா பண்ணுவான்